The Hamilton Railroad line pays homage to the roots of the brand that date back to the 19th century. Based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Hamilton made a name for itself by supplying accurate pocket watches to the North American railroads. Hamilton kept the trains running on time and became known as the Railroad Timekeeper of America. Last year at Bezel, Hamilton introduced an extension to the railroad line with its small seconds models with new exclusive calibers that yield an asymmetrical design, lending an honestly expensive look to a watch that really doesn't cost a whole lot. What I really appreciate about Hamilton's railroad line is that it's basically a wearable metaphor for the brand's early beginnings, and I'll touch on this more as we go throughout the review. Starting with the case, the sides are brushed, curved, and resemble the silhouette of a pocket watch like the railroad companies would have relied on back in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The polished bezel adds a touch of class and contrasts with the mostly brushed case. The crown is unguarded and doesn't screw down, so that, combined with the transparent case back, means limited water resistance of 50 meters. Overall, it's nicely sized for a range of wrists at 42mm wide, 49mm lug to lug, and about 13.5mm thick. While the dial exhibits more of the Jazzmaster motifs, like the polished dolphin hands and elongated and beveled markers, the railroad metaphor continues here too. Both the chapter rings, the main one and the orange subsidiary seconds track, look a lot like train tracks to me, which I consider to be an effective reference as it's not too obvious and it's also practical. You may or may not like it, but these chapter rings tone down the dressiness of the Jazzmaster dial a little bit. But not too much. There's no lume on the dial, limiting its legibility under low lighting and couching the sportiness. I love the asymmetrical dial. The sub-seconds at 8 o'clock is the type of design choice reminiscent of something really expensive, and it's not easy to see, but the dial has a subtle Sunray texture, which is interesting. A couple of things I'm not personally in love with are the orange, and with some exceptions I'm just not a big orange fan, and the date window. I'd rather Hamilton have used a date window with a black wheel. There's another variation of this actually, where that uses a silver dial with the blue subsidiary seconds track, and the white date wheel fits a little better there. I also wish the sapphire crystal featured AR coating, but alas, like many of their watches, this one does not either. As I mentioned before, there's a see-through caseback, so you can see the automatic caliber H22, which is nicely decorated with a skeletonized rotor. Since this is a more elegant watch, you'll notice the perlage on the plating versus the mini H's that Hamilton is using to decorate the movements inside of its sportier collections. The movement is ETA-based and provides 42 hours of power reserve. You can pick up the new Railroad Small Seconds on either a black padded alligator grain strap with a deployant or a stainless steel bracelet. The bracelet tops off the railroad metaphor, its polished inner links again resembling train tracks, similarly to how the chapter rings on the dial do. The bracelet has a signed butterfly clasp, it's comfortable, and with a 22mm lug width, however, you can fit any strap on this watch you choose. Technically and design-wise, I think Hamilton introduced some great things in 2014, and this is toward the top of my list for them. It's elegant, and the subsidiary seconds at 8 o'clock is eye-catching and different. It's an interesting nod to the brand's history, while simultaneously illustrating that Hamilton is prepared to take some serious steps forward. Priced at $1,395 on the bracelet and $1,295 on the leather strap, the Hamilton Railroad Small Seconds is available with either a black or silver dial at Hamilton's online store, Our Passion boutiques, and other authorized dealers.